Oh, just in time with the music ending. I really think I think this is going to be a good show. I think I feel really good about this. Thank you, Quinn. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Logic Live. My name's Andy. We are at episode 35 here, where we're going to be interviewing the lovely and talented Grant Kay. But before we begin, thank you so much, Carrie. I actually, classes ended for one of my kids for the semester, so I was able to take the ring light that we bought out of the basement and put it over there. So we got a little fill here, which is nice. You know, I feel like I look almost as good as the puppet in the back. Um, but thank you, Carrie. Thank you for noticing that. Welcome, my friends, to Logic Live. Let's get underway. This is going to be a great show today. I had such a wonderful time doing a little pre-interview with Grant, and I think he's just a wonderful guy. So I can't wait to get this going. So let's get started. There's lots to talk about, lots of dissolves to do. First of all, this episode of Logic Live is brought to you by Synesys.io, solutions development, integration, and support, supporting flame artists since 1997. If you want more information about their remote workflow solutions, please check them out at Synesys.io. You know what I'm going to try to do here? Wait a minute. Here we go. Look at that. Little picture-in-picture action. Oh, man, I'm feeling really good today. I also wanted to let everybody know that today is the last day to take advantage of the Boris FX Black Friday special. I did personally and professionally. They're amazing discounts. Actually, I should probably move myself over here. Here we go. Up to 50% off all products, including the amazing Boris FX suite, which is everything that they sell. We had Dan and Ross on from Boris last week to show off the new Mocha Pro, which was a fantastic episode. So I highly recommend, guys, please. The sale ends at midnight tonight, so if you do want to pick up any of their tools, go for it over at borisfx.com. All right, let me put myself back over here. And let's talk forum, shall we? That would be the forum. .logic.tv, which is growing and growing and growing. I want to thank Randy again for everything he's done to get that going, to keep it going. We had a really good month in the last 30 days. We now have over 800 users at the forum, 50,000 page views during a holiday month, and 934 new posts in the last month, which is pretty amazing, I have to say. So thank you, everybody, for signing up, for supporting the forum, and for contributing and making it the vibrant place that it is. Got a big announcement, something really exciting today that's being launched over in conjunction with the forum, and that is something that is called the Logik.tv portal. It's an easy way to share and install Python scripts, Matchbox shaders, and batch setups from our good friend Michael Vaglienty of pyflame.com. I see Michael's here, and thank you very much, man. I know he's been working on this for a while, and he's put together some amazing Python scripts for Flame. I use them every day over at pyflame.com. Let's see, there's off the top of my head, multi-batch render, which lets you render multiple batch setups at the exact same, at once, which is perfect when you're so busy that you have to schedule going to the bathroom. Then there's, let's see, there's, Slate Maker, which I use often, especially when we were doing episodic work. There's the shot sheet creator. If you want to make an Excel sheet that has like, one frame, like producers love that because you can easily make like an Excel sheet with shot breakdowns, but absolutely head over to pyflame.com and check out everything that Michael's done for the community, which is great. But I want to share my screen to show you something even more amazing. And that is this little portal here. So I have gone ahead. Let me bring up Flame here. I have Flame installed. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. Da-da-da-da-dee. Where is it? There we go. All right, so I have Flame installed here, or Flame up and running here. And once you install the script, the portal script, all you have to do is throw it into opt Autodesk shared Python, and the instructions are right there on PyFlame. You get a zip, you uninstall it, you unzip it into that folder, and you're going to get here in the start menu a little submenu called Logic, and here is Logic Portal. All right, you fire that bad boy up, and I hope everybody's seeing that. You should be. Everybody seeing it? Sometimes pop-up windows don't show up on Zoom. We're good. Oh, thanks, Jeff. And so here, there are 3 tabs. And here it shows you on the left, like all the Python scripts you have installed. And then over here on the right are all the ones that are available up on the portal. And right now, I believe it's the ones that Michael has on pyflame.com. So you can see here, if you wanted to install any of his Python scripts, you can just select one of them, right? I might even have that one installed, but it shows you what version of the script they are. It shows you what version of Flame they run on. You click install, and it downloads the script and puts it in Autodesk Shared Python for you. And when you cycle through your rescan your Python hooks right here, you should be able to see. Oh, I probably have to. You know what? I probably have to be in batch in order to show that. Yep. Of course, I don't have any footage in here. Let's see. If I right click. Yeah, there we go. Add freeze frame bugs. Okay. And you can also delete them from here, which is wonderful. And if you have any Python scripts you'd like to submit, right, you can click submit and then go ahead and upload them to the forum. The next tab over is Matchbox, which will allow you to install the Logik matchboxes. If you don't have them installed already, you just pick your install path, set your install path here, press download, and you're good to go. And the same thing for batch setups. If anybody has a batch setup that they'd like to share, in this case, like Michael has his for using ST maps in action as UV maps to undistort and redistort footage, you can go ahead and download them from here or submit them from here. So that the community can share them. So it's a great way for us to have like one repository where you can always find some of these things. So I really want to thank Michael. I'm going to give him a round of applause here for everything that he's done for the community. And on a personal note, he's been really, really great in helping me out with Python whenever I hit, one of my little, it's usually a syntax problem, in trying to figure something out. So thank you so much, Michael. You are absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being. Let's stop the share. And whoops, back over here. Let's get on with the show. All right. I'm going to turn off the picture-in-picture, and I'm going to ask our friend Grant Kay to join us. As everybody knows, Grant is the heart and soul of the Flame Learning Channel. There he is. Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good, good. How are things in the UK?
It's freezing here as well, I'm afraid. It's cold.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm.
Wonderful. That's two things we share, including a common language. So I'm sorry, before we dive right in, if anybody does have any questions for Grant, please go ahead and put them in the chat. Make sure you have your chat set to panelists and attendees, or you can throw them in the Q&A panel, and we'll keep track of them. So we all know and love Grant from his work with the Flame Learning Channel. And for those of us who have, that's the sword of Damocles hanging over his head, actually, which is the, no. We all know and love Grant from Flame Learning Channel. And for those of us who are old enough, from the Smoke Learning Channel before that, Grant, how many videos have you produced for the learning channels?
Well, let's see. Off the top of my head, I would say probably for the Smoke Learning Channel, it was probably close to about 400 or just under 450 videos. And the Flame Learning Channel is now just under 500. So I'm hoping 2021 I'll break the 500 mark.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? There's a comment here from Chatty in the chat. He's wondering if this is your real voice. Yes, it absolutely is.
Indeed.
It's
Indeed.
just great.
No, I don't. Yeah, I have my video voice, and then I have my regular one. If they sound the same, I'm sorry, but this is what I have to live with myself. So
I just remember the first time. I mean, like the first time that I actually got to see you was when we did one of these Zoom chats. It must have been because oh man, what was it? It was like maybe like the third or the fourth One Frame of White that we did. I figured, you know what? We need a celebrity announcer. I'm just gonna, out of totally at random here, send a message to Grant, and he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like he sent me back, a recording like within an hour, and it was just it's always been a great sport, to support the community. But I'd be curious to hear how you got started. I mean, I know everybody has a journey. I imagine when you were 5 or 6 years old, you probably didn't ever dream that you would be, working with the Flame community. I'm sure there was some other dream you had, but where are you from, and how did you get here?
Well, I mean, my background, I was actually born in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and I think my dream when I was very, very young is right behind you. You can see old Masters of the Universe. I love the animation stuff. I really loved the 2D hand drawn stuff as a kid, and yes, I was addicted. And the way my story actually started was when I got to secondary school, or what I called high school, and I was about 12ish back then, and I noticed that these guys were running around with cameras, busy filming everybody, the old VHS type cameras. And what they used to do is they were going around my school, filming all the events that we did there, and basically putting a package together and sending it out to the rest of the school every single term, every single semester. And that just kind of got my attention more than playing sports or doing anything. And I just got involved in that. And from there, it was all tape based. So I learned obviously how to operate the cameras and everything. Then they had the old tape based editing suite with the jog shuttles and the buttons. Obviously, the past few months, there's been a resurgence of the jog shuttle type thing from
Yeah,
another
right.
product.
From
But
from another product.
as things, it's, the world goes round in circles, so
Yep.
it's always happening. So I got to working on that, and so I worked on various different shows for the school. As I said, we filmed concerts, sports. We also did candid camera stuff. So you had a lot of times I was running around with camera, hiding behind a wall or something, filming us doing practical jokes on students and teachers. Got into loads of trouble the whole time.
Good.
Even in my old school, as we're talking a while ago, they were still caning, so I've caned a few times for that. But
Oh, that's great.
yeah, it was
Oh,
great.
that's
We're
wonderful.
working on the discipline. But
Yeah.
what actually kick-started another part of it for me was when I was about 15 years old, and I'd been working on these programs. We were lucky enough to have a producer come to the school to talk about her career. And at the same time, we were showing one of the programs to the rest of the school. And she saw the program and she wanted to know who worked on it. And they kind of pointed them in my direction, said, go here. And she said, you seem to have a knack for editing. Let's bring you into a studio and try you out. So she brought me in, sat down, and 14 years old kid in the TV studio with all the different tapes, Betamax, Beta SP, and starting cutting things together. And what was scary to me is I did my first broadcast piece when I was about 15 years old.
That's amazing. Do you remember what it was specifically? Do you remember what it was for?
It was for one of the local TV stations. It was a small little religious piece. And yeah, I mean, I can see Quinn said caning and child labor. It was a bit like child labor because I mean, I don't remember getting paid for that first job. It was
a
like,
simpler time, Quinn.
who would
Before
love
the internet?
Who would love some guy who can actually put stuff together and you don't have to pay him very much? Exactly, it's an absolute labor of love. So that's how it happened. But it was also a case where now I was in a situation where I was going to school, and then I had this producer calling on me to cut various inserts and do work with her. And then that also then led on to me being introduced into one of the most exciting times in production history, which was the introduction of nonlinear, all the nonlinear suites and everything. So I got put in front of an Avid 9000 series editor, and to render a dissolve would take an hour, 2 hours or so. You have to literally sit down and wait for these drives to chug away. It was hilarious, but it beat having to sit in that massive suite. We had 5 or 6 VTRs busy playing tapes away. So
there's really nothing more exciting than that anticipation in like one of those multi-tape editing rooms where like you hit the space bar or whatever it was to execute your like dissolve, and then you kind of sit back and watch everything like rewind and sync up, and then hope it starts to play at the same time.
But you only
The
had one
sounds.
chance. If you
Yeah.
messed up and you went back to change things, you didn't have to go back and redo all of it again.
Yeah.
I used to sit there with the log lists as well, in and out time codes, and sit there reading while I was busy punching it into a calculator. So went through all that. But as I said, on the linear side, on the non-linear side of things, I said jumped on the Avid system. I worked on that for a while. I can't say it was my favorite tool to use, but then one of the tools I got put in front of was a Cytex Turbo Cube.
Oh my God.
Which
oh my God. It's like there's a term I haven't heard in decades, a turbo cube. Oh my God.
the old Turbo Cube, which was kind of it was real-time standard def, but we still had to sit there loading all the tapes in and then cutting on that. And that was quite amazing. And this was, as I said, this was all happening while I was still going through school. So I was working and doing stuff. I was learning a lot of the industry. And then after that, I kind of get to that point where we get to the end of final year of high school, and my father says to me, right, I'd like you to think about going into doing actuarial science and accountancy and all that, and you'll do well. You'll do well. You're good at accounts. You're good at maths. And I was like, nah. I want to go into the industry. I want to do stuff. And his best advice to me is, well, you can go do whatever you want, but you got to have something behind your name to fall back on. So I said, okay, that's great. So my first tryout, shall we say, I applied with a showreel to the Pretoria Technicon, where they were doing a film course. It was a very prestigious, internationally recognized film course, where they were doing everything in 35mm. And I got in. There was like 300-400 applicants. They only took 20 people, and I was lucky enough to get a place based on the showreel and everything, the interview. My biggest problem with that is it was just completely in another language. It was all in Afrikaans, which is pretty much only spoken in South Africa. And I couldn't make heads or tails of any of the technical language. So I spent 2 weeks desperately trying to kind of figure out how to string sentences together that I could actually enjoy and understand the classes and everything. So I kind of realized, I'm very good with creative stuff, with computers, wonderful, great. Languages, no, it's not my thing. So I decided, I said, look, I've got to find another route. So I stopped that course, and the professor at that university said to me, he says, well, it's such a shame you're leaving. They kind of give you that story, and then his last words to me were, I'll see your name on TV. Good luck. Great. One of the many people who will try their best. Anyway, I got onto another degree course, a 3-year degree in media studies, where we did pretty much every specialization: TV, radio, public relations, marketing, and 3D animation as well. And that's where I also got introduced to 3D Studio DOS.
Wow.
Which then obviously became 3D Studio Max, 3D Studio Max 1. And I was working on that. And at that time, I was still working, and I was still editing. And while I was working through then, I started working at a company called The Digital Cut. And they were great because there was 3 of us. It was a brand new company starting out. One was a very well-known producer in South Africa. The other one was a great film editor. And then there was me, who got put in front of a machine, a system, which he said, you've got to learn how to operate this because we want to get everyone and anyone in. And the machine he put me in front of was a system known as the D-Vision Online Suite.
Okay. Yeah.
The D-Vision
starting
Online
to
Suite,
take form here.
yeah, the D-Vision Online Suite was owned by a little company called, I think it was it Discrete Logic? I think it might be Discrete Logic. I can't remember exactly. Could have been Discrete Logic.
Heard of them.
Yeah, famous little company. And so I started working on that. And one thing that happened, which was really interesting, is that as I was doing all this nonlinear work, and I was now onlining stuff and editing as well as grading and a little bit of compositing at the time, at the university where they were teaching us, I found that they were 1 year or 2 years behind what people were doing. They were still teaching people tape editing and everything. And I started arguing with the university professors, kind of going, look, this is not what I'm doing. Let me show you. And I showed them, and so on and so forth. And this went on while I finished the course there. I specialized in 3D animation, which was great. So I just kept on building that. I learned Photoshop, and I've learned a lot of other things. And then I finished with honors. And when I completed, they then offered me a job as a lecturer because they said, you seem to know what you're doing. You seem to know that. So can you come teach them all about nonlinear editing? And I was like, no, I want to make stuff. I want to work on the programs and the films. So I went back to the company I was working with, went full time, and then they were making me work on everything you can possibly imagine. So I was working on commercials, serials. I worked on some, low budget action films, type Chuck Norris-y type films, lots of blowing up. But I learned all about key code. I learned all about how to work with film and all that. And it was quite a crazy time, because I started also working on current affairs programs. So I was working 7 days a week, sometimes close to 20-hour days. So I personally think I did my time in the suites. But then also they used to say to me, right, well, we're pitching for a new program. Can you throw an opening together, throw some graphic things? So, okay, fine. And they put me in front of a program known as After Effects. It was just bought by Adobe. It wasn't owned by Macro. I think it was owned by Macromedia beforehand, but I'm not too sure about it.
It was Cosa After
It was
Effects.
a
I remember that.
Coast After
A
Effects. Thank
blessed
you.
memory.
Yeah, mine's going back then. Anyway, yeah, so I started throwing things together and kind of really ran with it. Ran with the editing, the compositing, the 3D animation stuff I did with them, and no, it was a really great time. But it was exhausting. I know what people go through, and I was, some of the current affairs stuff would be shot during the week from Monday to Friday. It'd be in the offline edit on Saturday. Sunday morning, I'd be in the suite. I'd be start onlining the inserts that are coming through. By midday, we send the drafts of those onlines through to the final mix. So they started doing all their mixing. I carried on. And, on occasion, what would happen is the broadcast would be at 7 o'clock. I'd have the first half an hour of the program out, and that would be going out while I'd still be finishing off the second half. And then 15 minutes to spare, I'd run across the road holding a Betacam SP tape, trying not to get hit by traffic, and running into the MCR, slamming the tape in and telling them, right, cue it up for 10 hours. And then standing in the room behind the vision mixers and the producers, there's they cue things up, and all just went out on air seamlessly. And you kind of get home, your heart's kind of going like this, oh my God. So yeah, it was a great time. And I worked on stuff, for all over the place. I did stuff for Africa. Some of the stuff I worked on went on PBS. A lot of South African content went out on PBS, which I was doing, and it was an amazing time. And That's then great. I landed up afterwards working. I did a bit of work for the reseller there, and I landed up getting bits of swag. So, for example, check this out: the old discrete Logic Vision.
Wow, man!
If that is remembered by anybody.
That shirt could talk.
Yeah, I haven't worn it in a while. I don't want it to talk. It's been sitting in the garage. So I started doing presentations, and that's the first time I started meeting people from discrete Logic, which would eventually become Autodesk. And I did a couple bit of work for them, and then the product then changed. It changed its face when it got properly properly bought out by discrete Logic. And that then became, I'm sorry, it's like very nostalgia. You got good old edit
it's
came.
Like Picasso. It's like they went through a blue period.
They went through a very blue period.
So did I.
Yeah, but the reseller, they had me demoing, and I was doing what I usually used to do. But I mean, one great story, we spoke about this in the pre-interview, but one really, really great story I'd love to talk about is the time that they sent me to Mozambique. And I can see Vaglienty worked on edit. It was a very fast, really cool tool. So they sent me to Mozambique, where they, I believe was the only edit that they had sold into Maputo. And they needed, obviously, the Portuguese editors needed training. So they said, we'll pay for you.
And we've just heard about your love of languages, and yes.
So they said, fine. So they sent me off, and I got collected at the airport by an amazing guy named Sol. And he decided to give me a tour of the city before he took me to where their studios were. And he drove me around, and there were potholes all over the road. There were houses burnt out. I mean, it was the city had been very, very ravaged from their independence from the Portuguese. Obviously, the Portuguese left, and then they had the local Mozambicans. But he was driving me around, and we eventually stopped at his studio. And it's this old abandoned cinema that they had taken over. So he takes me inside, says, right, he says, let me just take you to the cinema. And says, sometimes on the weekend, we show movies for people, not very much money. It's great. People get a little bit of a break from the hardships of the life in the city, but we come in there and we have a look, and it's great. But he says, but the rest of the time, it's home to the bats. And there were loads and loads of
oh my God,
flying around this theater. I was like, okay. I said, this is going to be very interesting. He says, okay, fine. He says, right. He says, the officers are upstairs. Let's go. We'll go to the projection room, and then I'll take you to the suite where we'll talk to the editors and get you started. Fine. So he takes me upstairs. The offices looked absolutely normal. Shows us the projection room, introduces me to people, and he says, right, so now I'm going to take you to the edit suite. Now, the problem we have, you have to understand, is we didn't have room for it, but we needed it. Okay, so what we did with the edit suite is we put it in the toilet.
Yes.
And he took me into the loo, and you had the cubicles on one side, and then you had a table with the edit suite and three very large Portuguese gentlemen kind of sitting around the table going, hi. So for a week, I sat in a toilet, three Portuguese gentlemen, how to edit. They were doing nature videos, and it was a lot of stuff, awareness videos for nature, but it was in the loo. And it was crazy. It was a mad time, but they were amazing people. And after the 4 days of training, they took me to the most beautiful white sandy beach I've ever seen in my life, and they gave me a wonderful seafood meal. But that was an eye-opening experience, to say the least. That you can cut anywhere, and this is before laptop editing, so it was a full-on workstation with its own set of drives, and I can't remember if it was Matrox or Targa True Vision cards. I don't know, but it was quite mad back then.
Most of the stories that begin with "a nice guy named Saul picked me up at the airport" and end with like three large gentlemen in the loo for a week don't have that kind of magical storybook ending that you just shared with us.
Whoa,
Oh my God.
It's not, people come come up with these ideas of lock, stock, and two smoking barrels, or that. And I'm like, he's gonna have a gun to his head. No, it was fine. Not as bad. But so
Michael in the chat was just like, "It's someone's always missing a kidney." Yes, that's right.
Yeah, no, one of them did try to marry me off to his daughter at the time, but I kind of said I was.
Oh, well, that's beautiful.
It was they were lovely. As I said, they couldn't have done anything wrong.
It's like the earliest form of like the subscription contract, for maintenance.
We'll look after you, but you have it's like, look, read the small.
This is how you always get support, is you end up marrying the training guy to your daughter.
Yeah. Then we have a permanent editor working there, so that's all great. Anyway, so how did I get to London? Now that's a fun one, because it was 99. I just decided I want to try and see what I could do elsewhere, because I'd done what I wanted in South Africa, was doing the top reality, the top current affairs programs. So I quit my job, jumped on a plane, and came to London. And I went around my showreel. I went all over to the different post houses in Soho. But I landed up at a facility that had edit systems, and I was cutting stuff for the BBC, for Channel 4, lots of corporate work for all the banks and stuff. And it was an okay time, but I wasn't happy with it. I was kind of not sure whether I liked being there or not. And by about 7 months in, I got a call from a gentleman. His name is Steve Hollyhead. He used to work for Autodesk. I believe he now works for AJA. And he said to me he was moving to the States. And he said, there's an opening. Would you like to come have a look? There's loads of people applying. And they knew me from the South African reseller. So I went there. I did a whole presentation, trying to show them how the software works, talking through them. I thought it was the worst performance I'd ever done. They said it was pretty okay. And then I didn't hear from them for about 2 months. And I thought, okay, fine, I missed the opportunity. At least I tried. But then they called me back and said, come in, we'll talk to you. They spoke to me. They said to me, okay, well, there's a lot of people, but you seem to be very good. We like the way you present. There'll be a little bit of traveling, just a tiny bit of traveling, but we want you to sell the edit system to our customers. Are you happy? And I said, okay, we'll try something different. So I signed the line. And the next thing I knew, I was June 2000, I was on a plane flying left, right, and center all over the place. And they, I was away I was averaging 3 weeks out of each month. I was in a different country. So I racked up a lot of air miles. It was quite exhausting. So it was a crazy time. But I also did get, and you don't get these anymore, but there's the obligatory, discrete, hard cards, the killer cards.
Yes.
So these are great for throwing at people that annoy you, or scraping ice off your windscreen, or looking at the sunlight during an eclipse. we had all those crazy things. So yeah, that's what kickstarted the career. And then I just kind of went through different stages within the company. I knew about flame and I knew about smoke. And I always, once I got in, even though I wasn't doing those products, I got on them and I was playing with them. I was trying to understand, because my first experience with the flame system wasn't a pleasant one. It wasn't, because when I was working in South Africa, I was working on lots of things. And one of the things my boss was able to bring into the facility was he brought in a very well-known burger brand. And he said, yeah, the producers all came in. They're like, right, we're going to do that, burger brand with the clown. I'll leave it at that. And he said, can you do the graphics? Can you do this? And I built all of that. And it looked amazing. It looked like it was finished. You expect compositing, grading, color, whatever. It's all done. And then at the very end of this job, the producer turned around and said to me, right, we now have to go do it in a flame. And I'm like, and I was sitting there going, why do you have to do it in a flame? It's finished. No. Everything has to go through flame. Because flame in the 90s, as we knew, was you finished every commercial in flame. It's flame. Great. Needless to say, the commercial when it was finished in flame, I saw it on TV. Artistic opinion, I hated it. I preferred my version. But it went through flame and it went through flame. So that was my first experiences with flame. So coming back to that, I was working on Edit. Discrete, a division of Autodesk by that time, they then decided to wind down the Edit product, which is fine. They then called me and said to me, by any chance, we're working on this new product that's known as Combustion. Do you know anything about Combustion? And I was like, well, yeah. I used to work on a product known as Paint and Effect by Denim Software. And that's how Combustion came about. And I said, okay, fine, well, you can do Combustion. So that's where they kind of got thrown right into the heavy bit of compositing. I was working on that at the same time. Here you go. Here's another bit of nostalgia.
Wow.
Real old, discreet shirt like that.
Wow, man.
Just for the record, I do not wear these all the time. Absolutely do. And I started working on that. And then they handed me another product known as Cleaner, which was
oh my God. I remember Cleaner. Oh man, it's like a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, so that's where I learned about all the compression formats and how it all works and all the underlying stuff, which it kind of just kept broadening the knowledge. But I was going out there, and what was great during that period initially was I was meeting all the great people doing all this amazing work. And, people working on all different shows, and it kind of got to a point where I was seeing people who would be working on small productions, commercials, going all the way up to feature films. And, the knowledge, to me, the knowledge is just, it's unlimited and you never stop learning. And I'm still learning personally myself by speaking to people. It's just crazy what you learn out there. So yeah, I was doing that. And then they said, well, you're doing well on Combustion, you're doing well on Cleaner. Would you like to take a look at they call them the advanced products, the advanced system products back then? I said, yes, I'll give it a go. Well, they said, right, well, here's a product called Smoke, works on the giant SGI computers. Would you like to have a go? If you learn it in 4 weeks, we'll get you demoing that. I learned Smoke in 1 week, and then I was out there demoing in week 2. I do blowing my own horn a little bit here. I do have a knack for learning applications incredibly fast. So I was able to learn Smoke and get up, and at the same time I was learning Flame, and we're going out doing more presentations and everything. I'm just trying to think. Stop me at any point you want to ask a question, Andy, because I can.
And I have a bet going on with a couple people to see how long I could get you to go without me interrupting for a question. But no, go ahead, please.
Obviously they started changing. The world started changing. SGI started winding down, and we started looking at platforms. So we moved Flint onto Linux, then eventually Flame, and then obviously we then started looking at Smoke on the Mac back in, I think it was 2011, because Smoke was 2012 when it came out on the Mac, because the version is 1 year ahead. And one great story, I can tell you what's really good is this t-shirt. This is the one I really like, this one. So this was the t-shirt that I was wearing when we launched Smoke at NAB.
I was
Uh,
there. I
yeah,
remember that. That was what's
and
his face was up on stage. He directed Gravity.
yeah, Alfonso Carrero.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And they dragged me backstage to say hello to him, which I didn't know what to say to him. I'm like, hi, how you doing? Great. You know, you're an Oscar director. Wonderful. Nice to meet you. It was right chat. But the one thing that they did to us, and obviously this was a marketing decision.
Hmm.
So they made us wear these t-shirts, which is great. The only problem I had is that on the back of the t-shirt, you had the Smoke QR code. And obviously that led people to go look at the branding. It was great. It was a great thing, great idea, because QR codes were the big thing actually back then. It was one of the times I came out and I could scan them. The problem is that I'm on there busy showing people Smoke, and I get, you know, during a trade show at NAB, you could be talking to thousands of people. So you're on a stage, you present to people, but then you get the pods and you're showing people how Smoke works in the pods. So you can be a bit more interactive. But every 5 seconds, I would feel a heat on the back of my neck because someone will walk up and start taking pictures with their cell phone, their mobile phones on my back every single time they wanted to know more about Smoke. So you're walking, and every single time you walk, just kind of like, oh my God, and people just taking photos of your back the whole time. I think I had more photographs were taken of the back of my head than they were, than they're actually looking at me, just because of the QR code.
Because the QR code.
That's a great memory. It's great.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
It's amazing. It was really crazy time, but it kind of, this all actually kind of kickstarted the videos, because what happened is, you know, just before the launch of Smoke on Mac, I was asked, can you please by one of them, can you please do just a couple videos, put them on, it was the Autodesk area, put them on the Autodesk area and see what happens. So I made a couple videos, put them up there, and you know, they were getting a lot of attention and people were liking them. It was very clear back then that there wasn't very much flame training material, or Smoke material for that fact, because Flame and Smoke at the time were always seen as this you know, closed off club. And a lot of people who wanted to learn Flame back then, you know, they had to join a facility as a runner, they'd have to do a lot of work, they'd see this mystical product, Flame or Smoke, being worked. And then to get on those machines, they'd usually have to get on them at like 2, 3 in the morning to have a couple hours practice and then do that. So it was very different. There wasn't very much training.
And it was
But
only $100,000 to add a flame license to your Smoke.
yeah,
I remember convincing ownership at one place I worked at to do that once, just
yeah,
once.
yeah. There were a couple of training schools, I remember. There were a couple of training schools. There weren't very many because obviously it was quite cost prohibitive at the time. So obviously that's changed now, but it was still a bit of an issue back then. So I made a couple videos and I posted them, and I didn't do much more than that. And it started getting traction. And I was told, you know, even though you are still doing presentations on stage and stuff, please can you carry on making more videos? So I carried on doing that. And as the videos got more popular, the first thing that happened is I got a call from Autodesk branding, and they said to me, right, you know, we can see you're doing some stuff. We're very happy with what you're doing, but can you please just tone down the graphics? Because what I had done is the videos I had made some pulsating nodes and some really weird animated graphics and some really, you know, if you dig deep enough, you'll find them on YouTube. And I was told, you know, you're a representative of Autodesk. I completely understand. No problems there. Can you please fall in line? So yeah, sure. Fell in line. And then at that point, I was actually getting tired of traveling because I'd been traveling for about 10 years. And I had kids. I decided, little kids, I want to see my kids grow up like we all do. And so I found a position in training, and it was training for Flame. And I got in that position. I was working in a team. We did certifications. We did all the Flame training that was being built up. Slowly, more and more stuff was going out onto the web. And then later on, another decision was taken, obviously, because resources had to be reappropriated and however they work in the company. And I was just told, right, you now got to push ahead. The smoke learning channel is going well. We need to push ahead with the flame learning channel. And we would like this to become full-time. And that's pretty much what kickstarted it off, and for the video side. And then as I've been going, I've had to make changes and improvements along the way. So, first video, I was winging it. I'd sit there going, hi, everybody. I'm like kid in my bedroom. I'm going to tell you all about smoke and we're going to do this. And, I was talking very fast, which I was used to doing from trade shows. So I could cram an hour demo into half an hour, but I could talk incredibly fast. Like there's a guy I've seen on the web. He was the speed talker.
The Micro Machines guy. Him?
That's it.
He did that FedEx commercial.
I was talking flame speed like that. I had to slow down a bit. Obviously with demo's demo, it's kind of like the baking of the cake. I'm going to stir the mixture in, and then, hey, everyone, here's what I made earlier. You can't do that with training, because training, you've got to, can't cut corners. You've got to explain yourself so people can understand and follow along. So that was a big change. But one of the things that was said to me when I first joined Autodesk, and it was a different era, different time, is I was told that I had to go for loads and loads and loads of presentation classes because they wanted to change the way I spoke. I didn't have a very strong South African accent. It wasn't that bad, but they wanted me to sound better. So I did loads of presentation courses and enunciation courses. So I've got a very mashed up accent, what's left of it. And then they said, right, we want you to please go ahead and, we want you to learn how to present properly. We want you to do proper voiceover. Yeah, no, presentation class is totally brutal. And what I did is I found this actor, and it was an amazing guy. And for 3 days, he brought all these scripts from all the car commercials he had worked on and all these other stuff. And he put me in front of a camera, and he then taught me how to speak, taught me how to present. We went through all these scripting techniques of how you should be announcing things. So if you've got one sentence, you can say it in 50 different ways to evoke multiple different emotions. So it was I didn't know any of this. So kind of having to learn how to act and do those things. And the whole purpose of this, at the end of the day, we don't have a special a university that's specifically dedicated like some other sites, pay sites and everything. So we're going out on YouTube. So it's one of the ways that we have to kind of give it a bit more polish than people just kind of winging it on Flame or any software. So that was the whole point of what they did. So yeah, I learned a lot about elocution and enunciation and inflection. Thank you, Quinn. We did all that, and that kind of got written in. It all got written into the way the videos then got done. And it's pretty much just carried on. Things obviously always change within a corporation. They adjust and they change according to the situation. And obviously now with the year that we've all had. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's going very well. And I'm making videos for the Flame Learning channel, but I also do a lot of other stuff as well within the company to help other people out, whatever I can do. But it's great. I enjoy doing it.
That's great, man. Let's take a look. Funny when you mentioned the Smoke Learning channel, I totally, after I, moved on to, I had a brief run-in with Smoke. I was working for a place that was quickly going out of business, and I was courted by another company, and they were like, "We'd love to hire you. Do you know Smoke?" And I immediately said, "Of course. Yes, absolutely, I do." I'd never seen the product, so my first day, which was client supervised, was horrible. But after that, things got slowly better. But when we talked the other day and you brought up the Smoke Learning channel, I was like, let's head over to YouTube, because there is a Smoke Learning channel here. And what's really great, this is a button I've never used before in YouTube. You can sort by oldest. So I was able to find here from 9 years ago, according to YouTube anyway, your first Smoke Learning channel. Let's listen to that elocution.
Hi everyone. In today's session, we're going to be having a look at how we can use the painting tools to fix a frame that may have had some damage occur to it in any of its processes. For
After the
example, maybe capturing off tape you have a dropout, perhaps you have some corruption from rendering in CG, or perhaps something
Definitely
went
an
wrong
old
on set
cursor.
and you need to paint
yeah,
out an
I
object for
haven't heard the
something in the
word
scene.
dropout in a very long
The material
time.
that we're using is stock.
Right. That gave it away, right? That totally
Yeah,
gave it away.
I don't know if that would be accepted in these modern times. You know, you have to be very careful what you say now because you don't want to offend anybody. You got to be careful.
Exactly.
That's a bit harsh, but
I
but
was, I have to say, one of the things for me that's always been most recognizable from the Flame Learning Channel videos has been the music. All right. The music is great. And there was one year where I was at NAB, I was in a cab with John Ashby on our way to somewhere. And like the music was playing, like whatever year it was. Um, I wanted to just share a couple of my favorites, like greatest hits. I don't know if you have a favorite. We can, I'd certainly love to hear. Uh, Hold on. I'm going to screw this up in a horrible way. Hold on for one sec. And of course, if anybody does have any questions for Grant, please throw them in the chat.
there were some pumping tunes. There were some jazzy ones. There's been quite a few of them.
There was, whoops. Was this one? I love this one. I also love these graphics.
Hey everyone, Grand K for the Flame Learning Channel.
Right? And then I think we transitioned to kind of more muted. It's the same music, but just a bit more muted. That sounds like a note from corporate.
Hi everyone, Grant for the Flame Learning.
Okay, hold on, wait.
Hi everyone.
And I have to tell you something, man. The capsules, and I want to talk about the capsules for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I have my favorite part of them is the music, and this is my favorite.
I was just trying to figure out because obviously with the capsules are a different beast altogether to the regular videos because obviously the capsules you don't hear anybody talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find some way of trying to make it interesting, and that's kind of what I came up with. It's just
they're great, man.
Jazzy tunes to do that.
What everybody should see also is Grant sent me a picture of the setup, right? This is where the magic happens, right? Can you just describe what you have in terms of a setup for making the videos?
Yeah. So I have Flame running on a Z8. So I've got a Z8. It's my glorified heater under my desk. That's pumping Flame. I use screen capture software on the Flame itself to do stuff, and then I use typically for the Flame videos that I make, I use ScreenFlow, and that's how I'm able to do all the zooming in, zooming out. Like my Yeti there for the voiceovers and doing all the different things. And yes, I love my Wacom, so doing stuff like that. But that's the latest setup that I'm working, and obviously that's what I have in front of me here. What people don't know is when I first started doing them, I did a lot of recording at home because I do a lot of work from here. And initially, when I was doing the videos, I couldn't get quiet in the house that we were living in back then, and in order for me to do the voiceovers, the quietest place I found in my old house was the cupboard under the stairs.
Oh, the Harry Potter suite.
Yeah, so a lot of the early recordings were done just above a washing machine, obviously off. But the only time I really lost my rag was when people running up and down the stairs behind me, and I could just hear the dud going there. So that's how it is. And
that's great. And
yeah,
like how many videos would you say? Or actually, let me ask this question differently. So we have the training videos, we have the capsule videos. How much of the content that you make is like pre-planned, meaning like there's a release coming, there are new features and things like that, and how much of it is a response from like community feedback and things like that?
Well, it does vary. I mean, initially when I first started doing the videos, a lot of it was community feedback and community response. Because we didn't have the videos that people want to know. For example, for argument's sake, people want to know how to key, how to paint out something, how to do a 3D track and that. So I gradually built up those videos, and that was, I'd say 75% of the time I was doing those, and then 25 was doing new features. But since there's so many videos now on the channel that cover a wide range of topics, it kind of affords me to change things up a bit. There's still feature request videos which I try and do, but a lot of the time, the Flame team kind of asked me, look, we need you to do new feature videos. The Flame documentation is absolutely fine, but the way for most of us being creative people, we kind of use our eyes. And if we can see something happening in front of us, that is kind of more of a more natural way in which we learn. And that's why we, push ahead with, a lot of the features. I will decide, okay, you need to have a video for this, but there's some features, for example, I'm not going to make a video on importing codecs, unless there's something that's wow. The rest of the time, I'm like showing you this is how it works, this is how you can do stuff. And, I try when I can, if the topic requires me going into some advanced aspect of it's fine. But most of the time, people just want to be able to, how does it work in Flame? Once they've been kind of given the guidelines and the grounding of how to do it, then you can run in any direction, because that's the beauty of Flame. It's the tool to do anything in any aspect you like. So I just kind of plant the seeds, as it were, and then people then can kind of run with that. And that's kind of the approach I've usually taken with making any videos that we do.
Yeah, I love how you've taken some of the more complex things and broken them up into like multi-part tutorials. I know, like I only recently started using like the selective workflow and things like that, and by accident. I mean, I tried something small. It exploded into something big because I was on a live session with clients, and I was able to dive in and kind of just go element by element by element in the Flame Learning Channel videos to figure out what it is I needed. Same thing with the machine learning stuff when that first came out.
Yeah,
And motion vectors as well. These are all complicated things that there'd be an hour-long video if you wanted to have it all in there.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have a problem with buying training where you'll sit for a 20-hour training course, which is fine. But to be honest with you, a lot of people have an issue with having time. And also, a lot of the time, a lot of people, if you're on the job, you need to know something. I just found that if you get smaller bite-sized informations, then bite-sized chunks, you can just assimilate that part. You just want to watch that little bit. You watch that little bit, you're done. You don't need to know what every single button does, and you don't need to know about every complex workflow. You just need to know what you need to do the job done then and there. And I've been watching. I do watch a lot of other products. I watch a lot of other videos. And everyone has their own different take, but I kind of find that a lot of people, if they just want to have that little bite-sized bit of information, like the capsules, for example, people assimilate that, they remember that quicker than having to sit 15 minutes through a video trying to find where they are. So YouTube now has chapter points. That's great, wonderful, do all that, and it's fine. So it's all good. Paul said, how many takes do you take to do each video? Well, it's kind of the video side of it, the screen capture, that's really easy because I can usually do that in one take. So I usually record the voice first and then I do the video. So to get the timings right. The voice, that takes a lot of takes. There's a lot of swearing that gets cut out, especially because my tongue, as much as it sounds perfect for each one, I do trip a lot when I'm speaking, and a lot of tongue twisters and trying to, you want to talk about, Dolby Vision and trims and, Rec 709 scene linear. You can already hear I'm stumbling a bit. I've got to stop and retake and then tweak the audio.
Rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of exercise, stretch the mouth, me, my, mo, my. But I guess going from someone who was an editor to onlining to compositing graphics, moving into sales, then into training, and now almost being a YouTuber, for Autodesk and doing all these things, it's crazy. It's great. But I do two things I just want to say. Obviously, the first thing is, I would not be able to do this without the Flame team behind me. Amazing bunch of guys, absolute geniuses. Really, really, really good. And then obviously the Flame people who use Flame, incredible talents. I mean, as I said, I'm still learning stuff. And to answer your question over there, at the moment, Smoke is still selling products as far as I'm aware, but at the moment, there's no requests for me doing videos on that. All the stuff's on the Flame Learning channel at the moment. So that's all I can say about that.
Question for you from the Q&A panel. Jeff was wondering, what are some of your other hats at Autodesk aside from the tutorial videos?
My hats. I would say, I do dip in and out of things for people. So, there's actually a team of people I work with. There's guys who do Maya videos, Max videos, and that. So we all work on the videos, but we also sometimes get requested to help doing video production for other stuff. So I do a lot of video production. I've helped with marketing. There's a guy called Ken LaRue. Sometimes I help him out. He helps me out. I've done stuff for manufacturing and design, and stuff that I know nothing about. I don't know anything about architecture, but sometimes they're kind of like, oh, can you help us out with this video? So I'm doing, as I said, there's a lot of things in the background. And then in terms of what else I do in Flame, well, I don't make the decisions. That's down to Will and the product management team for Flame. But the one thing I do kind of push in on the side is I'm a massive pro usability person. So I have loads of conversations with Fred and Stefan and Will, and I'm always approaching every feature in Flame from a usability standpoint. So how can we make Flame better? What can we change in Flame? I can't obviously influence massive changes, but if some buttons should work slightly differently as a default, maybe that will be better. They don't have to accept my opinion because I don't make the decisions. But I do try and say, look, why do I need to make a video that's 10 minutes long when I can make a video that's 30 seconds long if you make this one change? It's that type of thing. So I'm trying to think as a user, because one of my main functions is when you look at these videos, I'm translating what the dev team do into something that an artist or a creative would do.
Mm-hmm.
It's that. And then Tim wants to know, how do I handle remote working? Well, to be honest with you, I've been working from home for about 5 years. So I'm kind of used to working from home. I think the big difference for me was having the family home. So quite often I'd be on a Zoom meeting when my kids would run in the room screaming and shouting, and all you just see is hair everywhere, or yelling, please, can you take the laundry out during your lunch break? Or, it's everyone's still, got to sometimes do family stuff. So I'd say better time management, but it's not easy. But thankfully I've been blessed that I've been able to carry on and keep doing what I do.
Mm-hmm. That's great, man. That's wonderful. And I mean, even like the capsule that you posted this week, how to open a project with the libraries closed, was just like, like the fans went wild. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like such a little thing, but these are all like just quality of life, uh, you know,
Yeah, I mean, whatever,
little big things, as Quinn put in there. It's perfect. They're things
yeah,
that affect what we do
whatever,
every single
whatever the
day.
team can do to make people's lives easier for Flame, because we know the pressures people work under. We're very aware that nothing's ever perfect, and we're always working to make it better. And we always tell people, and I'm on the forums the whole time. And as I said, none of us, we don't actually have to be on the forums or on Logic or anywhere. We choose it because we love Flame, we love the community. And the big thing is we tell people all the time, keep telling them, please make sure you log your stuff in Flame feedback if it's a request, or log it with support, because those are the only ways we fix it, or we can implement it. So yeah, it's a fine balancing act. But as I said, everyone on the Flame team has an absolute love for it, including myself. And to work with such amazing people and see the stuff that people make on Flame, it just totally, sometimes just blows my mind. It's just absolutely incredible. And I'm only happy to be able to help people and help them learn, because that's, I found it's, I think I'm okay doing that. So if people like it, I'll carry on doing it. But yeah, no, I don't. I just don't talk. Welcome to the Flame Learning Channel. I don't talk like that all the time. I think it would drive my wife mad. It would absolutely. She'll kill me if I would do that. So no, just regular relaxed me.
That's great, man. I mean, look, I mean, even if you just glance in the chat here, I mean, this the appreciation for all that you do is kind of universal, So thank you so much, Grant, for everything.
Thank you.
If anybody has any other questions for Grant, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and give away a couple of prizes. Hold on for 1 sec. Let me do this and then this and this. I believe they call this dead air. Oh, there we go. Okay. That's better. All right. Let's see. It's prize time here at Logic Live. I have a couple things to give away. All right. The first is I have a Logic phone charger, courtesy of our friends at Synesys. Let's see who we can give that away to. All right. I'm going to bring up here this amazing square. You know, if you want to take money from somebody, get a square. All right, here we go. This is my favorite part of the show. Manuel, congratulations, my friend. All right. Congrats. I will reach out to you after the show and get your name and get your mailing address. All right, next up, I have a couple of beautiful and stylish Logic Live masks here to give away. All right, stay safe and stay fashionable with a Logic Live mask, courtesy of our friends at Synesys. All right, here we go. Yuri, are you still here? Oh, he was here earlier, I think. All right. One more time. Here we go. Edward! Or Eduardo, I'm sorry, I spelled your name wrong. There we go. Congratulations, man. Wonderful. Michael, that would be tic-tac-toe. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I've got something I would love to give away, but no, it's one of these.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
This one over here, they were giving away one year. I can't remember what year it was, but inside here you have smoke paper and fire lighter, fire Zippo.
Oh, that's fantastic.
One of the many bits of stuff I've collected over the years.
You know,
crazy.
You reminded me. I have here, whatever year it was, smoke on the Tesro. Remember the Tesro?
Yes, I do.
You know, I was on the beta team that year, and they sent as a thank you to everybody. I don't know how well you can even see this. I'll try it. Right, a discrete beta. This would be one of the big features was it was a 10-bit dual driver. Like they had turned on the ability to record two 10-bit streams, and so they were giving away here a little like screwdriver set, right? And it tells you here that there's a little label. I'll never be able to zoom in, but this one says discrete driver, and this where all the bits are. It says here's dual 10 bits, and it is. It comes with 20 pieces. So, this also, like your shirts, has been in my garage for for 20 years or something. Oh my goodness! I think there was one more question that came in while we was doing prizes, and it was. It says here, yeah, from Chadi. It says there was this hint to download all the learning videos for Smoke and Flame from a podcast manager. That was an amazing tip. This is for those who want to have all the videos in one take. Oh, that wasn't a question. He was just letting us know.
Yeah, because all the videos, with the exception of the capsules, all the videos are actually they're also on iTunes, so people can download them, and all of them are captioned. That's the one thing a lot of people don't know. So, because obviously a lot of the stuff I do, it's not just for English-speaking people; it's for all languages. So people would, access the captions and then translate them through an auto translator so that they can read them. So. Yeah, we're trying to give them as many avenues as possible. But I've looked at so many different platforms, even the kids platforms like Twitch and stuff like that. But I'm always looking to see how I can make things better. But it's quite a long process building a video to taking to completion. So it's a lot of effort.
That's awesome. Grant, thank you very much, man.
You're very welcome. Thank you to everybody.
Right. Oh, hold on. Oh, there you go. Even from Eduardo there. He said he's mainly learned Flame via the Learning Channel. So thank you so much, Grant.
No, thank you.
That's great, man. That's great. All right. Let's go ahead and finish this out for today. Hold on. Let me just cue up the correct slide. There we go. Coming up on Logic Live. All right. Next week, we have Tips and Shtick with Tim Farrell, ladies and gentlemen. I know I'm very excited for this. I'm sure you all are very excited for this. The man, the myth, the legend. Tim Farrell is going to be joining us. I'm sure you are looking forward to it. I'm sure you have a great hour planned. Yes, it'll be improv and fixing noisy edges with Tim and Andy. Let me know if you need anything from me. Thoughts and prayers, I think, will work fine, Tim. And then following that, on the 20th, we're going to do our first annual Logic Live holiday celebration. If anybody tuned in for our little summer party, it's going to be like that. It's going to be a meeting format instead of like webinar formats. We'll be able to bring everybody on that wants to come on, and we'll go into breakout rooms. There'll be some stuff to give away. It's just going to be a nice little social event, and a great way to say thank you to everybody for this year. This would be nothing without you guys. Again, please, if you haven't signed up for the forum already, head on over to forum.logic.tv and be sure to grab Michael's portal, the Logic TV portal on there, and give any feedback that you have. We'd like to make that, as great as it can be. This episode of Logic Live, just like all the others, are going to be on logic.tv a little later today, as well as some other great Flame content. I want to thank everybody for all the great feedback about my Logic podcast episode this week with Bilali Mack. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Go ahead and you can subscribe to the Logic podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify, or your podcatching app of choice. And this episode is if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube, see, Grant, this is where the voice and speech stuff comes in handy, right? If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. And again, for our friends at Force FX, if you haven't taken advantage of the amazing Black Friday discounts, please do it by midnight tonight. These guys are wonderful. I thank them for always supporting not just Logic Live, but the One Frame of Whites and all the live events that we've done in the past, and look forward to doing in the future. And thank you, of course, as always, to Synesys for sponsoring Logic Live. That's going to do it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Happy Hanukkah, everybody who celebrates. And I will see you all next week. Thanks.